the first time I remember someone asked me about like my cheating thing, like I put out a post a few months ago about like my own narcissism behaviors, and oh my god, the shit I got.
Oh my God.
Like, first of all, that was a while ago, right? That's what people don't seem to
How
get.
long ago was that?
That was probably like when I was in the peak of my narcissistic behaviors. Peak, it was probably like 10 years ago or 12 years ago, I would say.
And so
Between
how
12
did
and
you change? Because, a lot of what sort of the norm is that, or the consensus is that most narcissists never change. So
yes,
how,
oh my god.
I'm sure this is a
It's
long answer, but like,
so this is, and I'm glad you asked me that question, because this is also kind of that time of like losing and finding ourselves, right? And that same question.
yeah.
So there were a few years when I exhibited like very strong narcissistic behaviors. And at that time, I would say I was losing myself slowly because I was distracted by the fact that I was getting all this validation from women. I was cheating on my partner. It was so easy for me to convince people that, they should love me. And I'm not talking about just women. Like I made myself this figure that was very like popular amongst my friends and, all of that stuff. And that built this idea for myself, right? And while I thought I was creating a great image for myself, inside I was actually losing myself little by little.
Yeah.
And so it came to, I was with this girl for 6 years, and I believe I truly loved her, but I don't believe I gave her the love she deserved, or maybe even received the love I deserved. And so that's why, we went through this pattern. But after 6 or 5 years, she finally like decided to end the relationship, which I don't think she would have ever had the courage to do before. It was always me who was dominating it. And when she did, that's when suddenly I came face to face with my demons. And I was like, who is this? And that's the moment I say I completely lost myself, like completely lost myself.
Mhm.
And I was alone in a new country, having to like cope with it, of all this stuff. So, when people say that narcissists like are always narcissists, I don't believe it's true, because it's the same as ADHD, and I suffered from ADHD, ADD, other nervous system disorders, epilepsy, where a lot of people think that those things can be permanent true. That's also not true. Your brain is so neuroplastic,
Mhm.
physically and even like in terms of its wiring, that if you have the right kind of healing and the right commitment of doing the healing work, you can actually rewire the way your brain functions.
Mhm.
Sometimes from time to time, I can still see those old stories or those old wounds come up. But then that's what differentiates me from the old person, is that now I have a set of tools, a structure, a discipline that catches it and says, what do I need to do in this moment to create that change for myself, rather than get like sucked down into that
Mhm.
pattern, you know?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I like that. That makes
But
sense.
do you, in I mean, since we're talking about finding yourself, going from that place where you lost yourself to this person that you found yourself, do you think that you've had to change certain life habits? So change certain like ideas of yourself, change certain things you believed, about yourself or the things, in order to have the life you have now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things I believed is that I would, I had this belief that what that love was this chaotic, relationship. It had to be hot and cold and all these things.
Mm.
That because
Ah,
that's kind of how I saw my parents act in their marriage, and so I had that belief.
right.
Oh, that's what love is. My
Mm.
subconscious thought that. Consciously, I knew that's not what love was, but my subconscious
Right.
didn't agree because I
Hmm.
saw that when I was little, and so I'm really working on changing that belief that love can be constant, love can be peaceful,
Right.
love can feel safe, and that I could
Mm.
sit in my feminine energy and just sit back and receive, and I don't have to control. You know,
Yeah.
taking your class taught me that because, just all the exercises and meditations and journaling and things like that that you had us do, it helped me so much. And I
Hmm.
think that I proved that to myself when I was able to remove myself from a situationship that I found myself in after my toxic marriage was over. I found myself
Right.
in another toxic situationship, which we talked a little bit about last time, but
Yeah.
that threw me for a loop. But I was able to leave,
Are you still involved in that?
I mean, I would love to say that I'm not. And
I love the honesty though. I mean, that's what helps and
no,
helps us know that.
yeah, I'm not in that anymore, but I did
Okay,
have a little slip up. I did
that's
have a
okay.
little slip up for about a 12-hour period where I entertained him for a
Mm,
little bit, and then I
right.
quickly, he was blocked again, and didn't
Right.
knew that wasn't the right thing for me. But and I thought I could go into my old pattern of beating myself up and this perfectionism,
Mm,
which I struggle with too, which I think is another way to control, try to
yeah.
control. But then I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm going to try to have compassion for myself and just treat it as like I made a
Nice.
mistake. I'm human, and it's okay. I recognize
Yes.
it, and then I cut it off again. And I'm gonna, I my goal is to keep it cut off
Yes.
because he isn't for me. I know I deserve
Yes.
better. You know,
He's not going to give you what you want and what you
no,
need,
he isn't capable of
And
it because he's unhealed and he has all this trauma and he's also got issues with drinking and like all the shit.
right.
It's just so annoying.
And the well, two things I want to say to you is that first, I want to say to you that it's okay that you slipped up, like you said. 12 hours is not that much in the grand scheme of things if you think about it anyway, right?
Right.
So one, it's okay that you slipped up, and I think that it's nice that you said this because a lot of people listening are probably like, oh shit, yesterday I got into my poverty mindset about money, or yesterday I got triggered about this thing with my partner again, or like I reached out to my ex, and it happens. But it's what we do when that happens
Mhm.
afterwards that really makes a difference. And you said that while it went on for 12 hours, you drew a boundary with yourself somewhere. You
Yeah.
chose to be empowered and draw that boundary, right? So, one, I think I love that your dog just like pouncing in the background. It's so cute. It's amazing.
She's
He's entertaining, or she's really enjoying this conversation, it seems like.
good.
um but one, I think that I'm proud of you for, one is it's okay that it happens. Compassion is so important. Two, I'm proud of you for stepping out of it and drawing that boundary with yourself and saying like, I don't want to do it or get back into it. But three, what really is important is for us to recognize, um, why are we going back? And so what I want to ask you is this
Mhm.
question, and then we'll come close to the end of this conversation today, because this is what can help make us lose ourselves again, right? You are now, by the way, I'm letting all of you know, in case you don't know this, Heather is this beautiful 50-year-old woman who teaches so many women all over the world to feel so confident in how they look and they carry themselves, and is teaching them not just to, like, wear the right clothes, but to feel good about themselves wearing these things. So you've done so much for yourself. You're finding yourself. Those moments of tests of where we can lose ourselves again, we have to recognize. For me, I always do this.
Okay.
A, why is it coming up? And B, what am I needing that I'm not giving? So that moment that you had, that 12 hours, right, where you felt like weak in the knees, let's call it, for this what's it called, a situation
Player for this.
douchebag. I think player is too kind of word. Let's call him a situation douchebag. How about that?
Okay.
Not even a situation ship douchebag, a situation ship douchebag. Whoever it is, if you're listening, I'm sure you're a great human being. We're just doing this all in fun, only a little. But what were you going through on that day that you felt you needed to respond to this guy? If you can think back, do you think you were feeling like lonely? You were missing connection? Maybe were you drinking? Maybe was there something that happened and you just wanted to share it with someone? Did you just want to feel loved physically, so you wanted to reach out? Like, what do you think you were going through? Because seeing who you are, I cannot imagine that when you're feeling in your highs of highs, you're seeing someone, let's say you go on a date and someone really values you, nourishes you, takes care of you, and nurtures you. I can't see you in that high of highs wanting to go back to this other person. So what was going on, you think?
I was lonely. I mean, I was on my way to see some girlfriends at dinner. So I was about to
Okay.
be with my girlfriends.
Hmm.
So, I was wanting connection with him,
Mm,
or
yeah,
maybe not just with him. I was wanting connection.
with someone. Yeah.
I was a little lonely. I just really wanted connection with a man.
Mm,
Like I said,
right.
I was about to go see my girlfriends, but I really wanted connection, masculine energy. I just
Yeah.
and so yeah, maybe I was feeling a little lonely and wanted some connection.
Yeah, and you know what? That happens to all of us. I think for most of my friends, for me in the past, those moments when I cheated was always moments when my partner was away because she traveled a lot, or I did. It was almost always moments when she was away and I was in a different city, and I wanted that kind of feminine connection, that feminine touch, cuddling, and like sex is the fastest way for us to feel that sense of connection, right? Because our body's actually doing something together physically.
Right.
So those were the movements that, like, I could tell I was losing myself, like in this moment. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to get you a scarecrow, right? And I'm gonna paint like a good old beard on it. I'm gonna send it over to your place. And then whenever you're wanting this masculine connection, just go to this scarecrow. You can do whatever it is you want to
Yeah.
scarecrow. No one's recording, by
No
the
one
way.
can tell. Okay.
Yeah, you can put some parts on it if you want, just to make sure, it does its job or whatever. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But in truth, replacing that scarecrow with an emotional, masculine, supportive piece, right? Like in the moment that you want that level of connection, what can you? The biggest question for me that saved me is always, what can I do in that moment
For
to at least
myself.
make myself, yeah, exactly, in that moment for myself, to at least feel a little more loved, so that I don't have to resort and go back to the things that at the end make me feel unloved,
Right.
because at the end, that's what's going to happen.
Right.
So,
And that makes
um,
sense. I should have asked
yeah,
myself that. And it's like I didn't even think there was no
yeah,
thinking
it's hard.
going on in the beginning,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And if there's thinking, it's not with the right parts of the body either, right?
Right.
Am I right? So it happens. It happens all the time. I'm very well aware of this, and like I work with people, it's natural. But that's when we have to especially step into, taking care of ourselves. So, are you hurting from shame, loneliness, toxic relationships? Do you want to break that pattern and create a beautiful, loving life for yourself? Well, my name is Yats, and I'm an inner work and relationship guru. And I have helped thousands of women and men from all around the world learn to become their best selves and have the lives that they truly want and desire. This channel was designed for you to be able to heal those old wounds, be able to become and elevate your best self, and to you to love your life really that you have right now. And I offer an 8-week program called the GAUNTLET, which takes you on this amazing journey of healing those wounds. And I also offer in-person live retreats all around the world where you can access that same level of healing and empowerment. I want you to do something for you today. I want you to watch some of these videos. And if these videos hit close to home, they resonate with you and they're giving you some inspiration, then I want you to subscribe and share it with somebody else who needs it. These videos aren't just for someone to consume. They're meant to inspire people to take action. And if you want to take action in your own life, jump in the comments, watch the videos, send me a DM at the Inner Yats on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next video.